I'm looking for my son Akeem. If y'all can hear me, make some noise. I'm Priest Jacobs. I'm the owner of SoulHAUS Art Gallery. How many of you guys ever visited an event, came to a show, to our other location on Lincoln Street? Thank you, thank you. Another legend walking into the room. Hello, sir. I'm talking to you. How you doing? Real quick, we are now located here, so I want to give a shout out to the Corporate Center for the Arts of having this collaborative idea to have SoulHAUS here, so make some noise. Our gallery space is on the 3rd floor. We have some pieces up right now by the amazing artist Anthony Lewis right now, who's up front. And we have some pieces by Sanford Green. And it's gonna be a rotating gallery. And one of the things that was really important when I was talking about coming here to do the gallery at Coker Center, I was like, I need help with you guys absorbing some of our programming. And we had really, really amazing programming that we had that excites me. And it's one of the things that I wanted to do here is to keep those things going. So if you guys look in the back, we have something called a vibe call yoga that we do every other month in here. The next one is going to be October. So it's basically a yoga instructor named Adia, and I'm playing some fly ass like hip hop and soul stuff, and people are stretching out to some fly shit from the 90s music that you grew up on. I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna pull a hamstring and y'all gonna laugh at me and put it on TikTok. But we did the first one here in August, and it was a 1-year anniversary of a vibe called yoga when we did it at SoulHAUS, our other location. And it was really emotional to have to move out of Lincoln Street. And like, there's a lot of details to that. Y'all gonna have me cry. I'm a crier. But seeing this and having this kind of concept work was really, really a big idea that we wanted to do at the other location, where I'm thinking about programming and I'm like, what would I want to see? And a lot of times the best answer is very, very simplified. I want to find people that I admire, that inspire me, and I want to sit down and have a one-on-one conversation and ask all the questions that I wanted to ask. So this is where the SoulHAUS sessions came from, where I just want to talk to some fly-ass people and have some conversations, and also have art as always a component for it. So the artwork you see here right now is of my brother in arms, Dre Lopez. Make some noise, Dre Lopez. Known him about 20 years or more. Girl, them storms are bright. You can't hide. Come on in. How you doing? Don't do no crime. We're gonna catch you. Where's Marco? Okay. Anyways, so when we opened SoulHAUS, Dre Lopez and his brother Sammy, they were the first people that I called to get pieces in the space. They are an amazing artistic duo, Pienza Art Company, do amazing work. And I'm gonna embarrass the shit out of Dre right now and ask him to come here and say a couple of words about these pieces. Gotcha! You can grab it. Tell us about the pieces that we have here.
Yeah, these pieces were an idea just to kind of start a collection of artists, creators that have passed, that inspire me. All my influences are all over the place. And as an artist, I'm pretty slow. So this idea was something that I could produce a little bit quicker. You know, nowadays with social media, the idea of having content consistent enough is a thing. So this series that I have here, you know, this is 5 out of, I think 10 total right now, but it's something that I'm gonna continue doing, and it just allows for me to be a little more playful with the idea of portraiture. You know, I wanted to do something approachable, something that people could vibe with, that also I feel good about, and whatever comes out, you know, so that's what it is.
Make some noise to show an applause. Also, we have a sponsor for these conversations, because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine with Curated Wine Group, And I was like, I want to do these conversations with people. I want to have an artist. I want to have someone to do a conversation with. And it was like, would you be interested in getting free liquor? Is that a trick question? Yes. So our sponsor for these events, they're going to donate a bottle of something really, really fly to the person I'm having a conversation with, individual artist. Dre said that he was a fan of tequila. So they got him Calleja Tequila Blanco. So each bottle is individually blown glass made out of recycled Mexican Coke bottles from local artists. So please, here you go. Because we ain't got the money to pay your ass. Anyways. And they also donated a bottle of Uncle Nearest for me and my guests, but it's probably going to be me that's drinking it right now because she want to have a clear head. So make some noise for Dre Lopez one more time. And the artwork's for sale. So please buy that shit. If y'all don't know, I'm going to be talking and saying stuff because I think it's really important for us to have really, really, really dope, unedited conversations. And having conversations is really important because everything that I want to do, I have this saying where I say it's a love letter to the ancestors. And so I have an album called Francis that's for sale. Please buy it. And the concept of what I'm doing is basically I look at the life of my grandmother and the stories that she had to deal with and wonder who is speaking on her behalf, who's telling those stories. And real quick story before we get started and why this really inspires me. The last conversation I had with her before she passed away in 2017, she told me that when she was a little girl, her great-grandmother lived with her, and her great-grandmother was an enslaved woman. And when that came in my mind, I was like, oh, wow, there's 1 degree of separation of a relative of mine that's enslaved and my grandmother interacted with her. So a lot of things that we think is so far away and long ago, that's not the case. And so it's really, really important. I would urge, if you have elders in your family, if you have people that are willing to sit down and talk to them, because that's going to be the most important thing. And I think that's the strength of conversation. And this is why the first person we did for this series, I'm a little paranoid because we sold out tonight, and the pressure's going to be, no, I got to do that introduction for you. Hold on now. Her introduction, if I did it, it'll look like a CVS receipt. So I shorten it down. I'm going to do my Morgan Freeman voice. I'm kidding. Nikki Finney is a world-renowned poet and professor from Conway, South Carolina, whose work has given voice to the beauty and struggle of the South and the Black experience. She's a National Book Award-winning author of Head Off and Split, a chancellor of the Academy of the American Poets, and now serves as the executive director of the new Ernest A. Finney Jr. Cultural Arts Center here in Columbia. I want you guys on the count of 3 to make some noise for Nikki Finney. 1, 2, 3, let's go.
Can we hold these?
Yeah, we can hold it. Or yeah, let's hold it. I'm gonna do what you do. Thank you so much for doing this. And when I first had this idea of doing this conversation series, I got my little notebook. You were the first person that I thought of, and it was really, really funny because it was like I asked you, "Hey, would you like to have coffee on my porch?" Right? And that was crazy. I went and got like croissants and all this other stuff because it was really, really important to talk to you about this concept and this idea. And I think that as a creative, as an artist, a lot of times we want to look for people that have done these things that we admire that are from previous generations. And it's kind of like a blueprint to how to move forward. So one of the things I think I want to ask, first question that comes to mind, you said before that poems are a form of testimony. In this moment of time, in 2025, what should poetry be testifying to?
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
How you doing? You look beautiful. Hey, Anthony. I'm so glad to be here. I'm getting to your question.
Oh, take your time,
But-
girl. I ain't rushing you.
Mama said,
You get my phone so you can be on time.
I'm hoping I don't cry tonight because I'm kind of teary, and it's the world we're living in, and but it's not weepy tears. It's other things, and so I'm glad to see you because you look so beautiful. You come from this community that I live in, and I just met Caitlin. Because I'm a walker, and she and I were talking, and I passed where she works, and I didn't know who was inside. And I was like, one day I'm gonna stop inside there. And so I walked in today and I meet Caitlin. But the reason I tell that story is because she asked me, do you do these things often?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I used to. I used to live in a community that was irascible and more spirited. I felt like that we could fight together and not have to agree. And then I could go home and write a poem, and they could go and, I don't know, practice law the next day, something, right? And so I don't do this in Columbia enough. We don't have forums like this, I think, enough to invite certain people to talk about things. I mean, we live in a community, we live in a world and a time where everything is so fast and so social media and so TikTok, but conversation is really where so much is born,
Absolutely.
right? And so I wanted to come, I wanted to be here, I wanted to support you in your new endeavor, and I wanted us to think about how we can make sure that we are present and accounted for in many ways.
Absolutely.
Before I answer your question, I know I keep pushing it back, but it's because I wanted to read this, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Quote, there is a reason, after all, that some people want to colonize the moon and others want to dance before it. James Baldwin, 1972. I don't know how my mother walked her trouble down. I don't know how my father stood his ground. I'm supposed to sing this, but I'm a coward. I do remember how my people survived slavery. I do remember that's why I believe. I don't know how my mother walked her trouble down. I don't know how my father stood his ground. I do remember how my people survived slavery. I do remember that's why I believe. We are artists, not just dancing to the music. We are not just making swirls on the page to hang on our walls. We are often taken lightly by those who do not understand the power we have. We are sometimes taken lightly by our own selves. We are human beings responding to, in the only way we know how to best and honestly respond, using the deep, dark breath and language of what it means to be human at a time when deeply frightened men and women have decided to live only to conquer, have decided to kill or starve to death any who do not look or think as they do. These ones live only to conquer and create the world they prefer to live in while doing everything in their power to steal, imprison, defund, ban, intimidate, poison, invalidate, let living things die rapidly and slowly, stomp on, deconstruct, and manipulate with constant lies and deception. The fact that there is something called the truth and there is something called empathy for another human being. They are writing their books now and their sermons to their congregations that speak of how empathy is now out of fashion. But we artists, we who love the arts, know that empathy was never to be placed in the category of bell-bottoms and miniskirts. We know that all we have as a society and a world rests in the arms of those 7 alphabets. I got up this morning and I said, I don't want to entertain anybody today. I don't want to just be here with you, you there, me here. I want to be in conversation. And if I can't be in conversation, then I don't want to waste my time in alphabets.
Oof.
We are in a perilous moment. And we from South Carolina, so we're going to cross our legs and say thank you and please and watch the football games while something else is going on. And as an artist, I don't feel like I can just read a poem or even talk about poetry without talking about the world around me.
Yes. All right, y'all. That's it. I'll see y'all later. Thank y'all for coming out.
We deserve to give that to each other. Yes. We deserve to make that for each other. Mama said you gotta ask for what you want in the world and see if anybody is there to answer. And if nobody's there, that's cool. I still believe what I believe. But I need to say this because I'm a teacher, I'm a poet, and I don't feel like we are addressing the issue face on. We got too many distractions and too many things to hide under and around, while people right now are being attacked on all fronts. So that's what I want to talk about. And that's what I want to say. I wanted to start with the James Baldwin quote because he wrote that in 1972. And here we are still talking about going to the moon, and going to Mars and going to other planets. And that's because we don't want to turn and face the issues and the things that we need to talk about here.
Whitey on the moon. Yeah.
We can't sweep this under the rug. We can't act like this is not happening. I can't act. So somebody else can come in and we can talk about iambic pentameter and how many syllables are in my lines. I love that kind of conversation, right? But I also know that there is a void in this community, especially because I live here and I know this, about those kinds of things. And so, I don't know. I'm really glad that you're having these live in-person conversations. I never want to be in a space where I do the talking to the audience and I don't hear back from them. Mm-hmm. I think that we are too polite. I feel like I left here at 18 because I was tired of being polite. I wanted to go to a place that taught me truth, not how to sweep something under the rug. And I had to leave here in order to find that. I had to leave my parents. I had to, you have to leave home. Everybody knows that. You have to leave home in order to find the doors and the windows that you can climb through and you can call your own, without the sort of baggage of being called impolite or other, right? But there is there's something happening that we really need to address as a community. And that's why I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that you're willing to talk with me about that and say those things out loud. And I hope that this forum that you're starting, Preach, is open to that because people are scared to talk. Yeah. Artists are not the artists I know because, but many artists are afraid. I mean, and that will go into the work itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there is this conversation, and this is where the shift came with me in SoulHAUS. And I told this story where it was Vista Lights, November. So we're in the Vista. It's literally 1,000 people outside. And I'm playing music. The doors are open. And the amount of young Black kids that were looking through the window, afraid to walk through the open door, it traumatized me. And I was just like, the whole night, I'm like, come on in, come on in.
Right.
And then I realized, oh, this can't be a conversation about selling art on the wall.
Right.
This has to be a conversation to say, yo,
Right.
this art is for you too.
Right.
It can't be that just because you can't afford this shit that you're not valuable or you shouldn't appreciate it or you shouldn't be around it. And so as soon as I saw that, my mission statement changed.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, we can find the money somewhere.
Right.
But it can't be a conversation of commerce. It can't be a conversation of this is for sale, buy this. Because what ends up happening to people that can buy the art, as a collector that said this to me, he says, the problem is the people with the money don't have the taste and the people with the taste don't have the money. And so you find yourself selling to a bunch of people that don't appreciate the work as it should, especially when we talk Black work. Right. And this goes into this next question, because when I listen to you and look up to you, and I wrote this column about our dear friend Kevin Gray that passed. I said in this column, I was like, he's my mentor, even if he didn't know it or not, because he was the person that was doing the work that I wanted to do as a Black columnist in South Carolina. And there's this thing that I see with other artists, whether they're national or local, where when I do my work, I always want to talk about what's affecting my people, right? With whatever I'm doing creatively. And some people don't do that. Turn your phone off. I'm kidding. But I'm on speaker.
I told you I had a mama. She could call.
But there's this quote, and I forgot the comedian that said it, but he said this. He said, to white folks, Tom Hanks is a great actor, but Denzel is a god to his people. And what they were saying is, when there's somebody in that field, there's this responsibility that Denzel feels about the roles that he takes, a responsibility about how he carries himself. And I don't see that happening with a lot of artists that have like national acclaim, right? The idea that Jerry Seinfeld can say, my whole show is about nothing. Like, great. I couldn't be somebody in that type of format and say, I'm going to make a whole career of never saying anything that focuses or impacts the people that look like me and sound like me. So one of the things I'm wondering is, and we could touch on your family background, was there ever a time where you felt that activism and art should be separate? And if not, where did that come from? And how do we instill that in some of the younger writers and poets that you're seeing now, the younger generation? How do we give them the blueprint to be, hey, you don't just have to entertain. You just don't have to write a song. Here's how you can talk about the things that are impacting people that look like you.
Live it. Live it. It's not a book you can buy at the bookstore. It's not a video. And you can't make a young artist get it.
Yeah.
But they can be in your space. They can see your dedication in your palette. They can see what you prioritize. I got to tell you this story. It's this conversation. I have goosebumps about to say this, but the Venice Biennial, did I say that right? It's coming up, 26, right? Next year. The first African woman ever chosen to direct the Venice Biennale. Sorry. Was a woman named Koyo Kote, Cameroonian woman, right? Brilliant. 57 years old. You got to look her up tonight. Don't go to sleep tonight until you read the New York Times article on her, or go to the podcast. I'll send it to you. Born in Cameroon, went to Switzerland when she was 12, In Switzerland, she says, everybody is about becoming a banker. Switzerland, come on. Banking, come on. And she said that she discovered, and I want you to remember this line. She said, I learned everything there was to be a banker by the time I was ready to graduate from high school. So I was getting ready to go to banking school. And I reared back and I said, there is nothing in my spirit that cares about profit.
Ooh.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, say it again.
She said, I was 18 and I said to myself, wait a minute, world, there is nothing in my spirit that cares about profit. Everything that is happening around us today, I'm gonna come back to Koyo, is about profit. We live in a capitalist society. It will impact everything we do unless we understand and divert, right? Cut a hole in that to something else.
Absolutely.
Okay? So when you read about her, you will also hear another line. She said, I care about the immateriality. Wait. I care about the immateriality of art.
Wow.
Okay, well, I want to make the art. I want to be in the room where the artists are who made these beautiful things. But what I really want to focus on is the immateriality of art. What is she talking about? She's talking about spirit. What made that brother make those beautiful pieces? That's when you get a young person in a room with an artist like that who understands the difference, not just slapping a price tag on it, but understands what it comes from. Make them take the trash out. Make them sit there and do something that's tactile and use their hands. Play a video in the background surreptitiously about Malcolm X or Barbara Jordan or there is a wealth of information. Why do you think they don't want to teach Black history in South Carolina?
Yeah.
It's the reservoir. It's the ocean. It's the richness of culture, right? So back to Koyo. Koyo died a week. Oh, no. Wait, she said yes to being the curator, the new curator for 2026. She spends all of last year choosing the 157 artists in the curatorial and in the exhibit. Got everybody, yes. Wrote the curatorial conceit, which I will send you tonight if you give me your email address, because it'll keep you up with what at night with what she said about art. And then a week before she was to announce this to the world, she died.
Wow.
Cancer 2 days before.
Wow.
Koyo Kyote, Cameroonian, first African woman chosen to curate the Venice Biennale. But she was so busy getting her work done, they're going to go ahead with her idea and her format and everything she drew up, right? The reason I know this, because one of the artists who was invited, I had never heard of this sister before. I've only known her a month now because this artist who was invited to be in the Biennale asked me to write a poem, back to poetry, I haven't forgotten your question, for her to be in the catalog.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, she introduced me to the curator who chose her, right? But I'm a student of life and I'm a student of art, so I want to know who chose this young sister, right? And so that's why I cannot stop reading about what she left for us if we would only read about it. Switzerland, profit, immateriality. It's about spirit. It's about understanding that we create this out of the empathy and the passion and the persnicketyness and the desire to be human.
Absolutely.
Not to profit. We're not teaching our young people that.
Yeah.
We put dollar signs on everything.
As an artist, I tell people, my parents, country black folks from Eastover, South Carolina, both of them pick cotton, country as hell. And when I was getting involved in the arts, Gordon Parks was my hero because Gordon Parks did everything. And so the idea of stay in your lane was something that never applied. It's like, yo, I want to take pictures. Oh, I want to be a director. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. And I found that my parents, when I was growing up, they were really discouraging about being an artist. Not because they didn't believe in what you were doing, but it was like, we don't know any artists that are making a living.
They were scared.
They were terrified. Absolutely. And listen. The day I got my hair twisted, because I had my locks for 12 years, my dad cried. He was scared that, my boy gonna get shot, right? And as a younger black male growing up, I'm thinking he's overreacting, but the older I get, I'm like, oh, he doesn't know how to articulate it in a nicer way, but he was terrified. So when I look at your legacy and your family and your father being an activist and first black Supreme Court justice in South Carolina, did I say that correctly? All right. Yes, okay. All right, it's in my brain. To have that, I have two things that come to mind. When you are looking at doing things creatively, how was that response from the family that would probably think about, I want my daughter to be financially successful? And how do you find your individuality from coming from such a legacy of activism and civil rights work and the things that we know you for today?
Great question. And my father was my buddy. My father was my palette. My father taught me to fight. My father taught me about justice for all. He was the justice man. He fought in this crazy, conservative, white, racist state and was a gentleman, was a statesman, walked across the aisle with people who, saw him and pushed his career, as he crafted it and hammered it out himself, okay? He wanted me to be a lawyer. No, Daddy, I love you. That's not happening. But because I was in the car when he would go to the jail at night to get a young brother out who shouldn't be in jail, I saw what he was putting on the line for another human being. Did I mention this was about empathy? Did I mention that there are churches and books and people now saying how we should not be empathetic? That we're in a different world?
Yeah.
So my father started this in me. My mother was a teacher, right? The combination, fruit don't fall far from the tree. But I had to do it my way. I was not interested in pursuing a career where I had to stay within the lines of somebody else's drawing. I needed to draw that myself. And that's what I did. I took everything they gave me and I left South Carolina in order to get over the hump of there were no black people at the time creating in the way that I wanted to create. There was, the blueprint was out there in the world. And so they hated, I'm the only child of my mother and father who left home.
Wow.
And both my brothers are lawyers. Good people. But I needed something else. I was the child who was drawing outside the lines. I was the child who, knew that there was more for me, and so I had to go find it. But the die was cast in a way. And I want to say one thing about my father because it's really important. My father was monumental to me. My father was monumental to this state. Yes. But I want to say one more thing about South Carolina and black people who have something to give the state. In my estimation, South Carolina lets one black person move to the top. Don't start me today.
Come on. That's what. Look, that's why I had this bourbon for you, but she didn't want to drink it.
I don't need. I don't need the bourbon. I need you to know that this is an equation. Okay. When I turned back and went into the archives about who was fighting for civil rights in the 40s and the 50s in this state, my father's name, I wasn't looking for my father's name. I'm looking for people who held up the court system. I'm looking for civil rights workers whose names you don't know because they don't want you to know it, because they only allow one person to come through. Why do they only allow one person to come through? That just happened to be my father or Matthew Perry or somebody like that. Why? Because in a white supremacist land, Black people in groups are feared. I told you I didn't come here to entertain. That's not my agenda. That's not my agenda. Black people in groups are feared. Look at what is happening right now. Washington, D.C., Chicago, Baltimore, urban, Democratic, Black, brown areas. They're coming for you because you vote. And they know that people aren't happy. This is an equation, y'all. This goes back 250 years. So my father was a great man. And there were a lot of great men and women in this state whose names never rose to the top because they were squashed. If you think about it, if you think about enslavement of Black people, just gonna give this little thing right here.
Let's go.
The enslavement of Black people, the end of slavery, right? 1860, the Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. If you look at the timeline, 250 years, 1766, right? 1865. Let's stop. Oh, let's stop a Reconstruction. Oh, that was a lot of Black people gathering together to join and to be lawmakers and stuff. What happened to them? Lynched, killed, murdered. The Jim Crow, the statue was on the state grounds of the governor who said all Black people should be killed. Do we know that? Do we teach that? You got to go find that information to understand that it exists, okay? I'm not trying to make anybody uncomfortable. I am trying to say we got to have conversations or we're never going to move forward.
And you talk about discomfort. That part I don't give a shit about, because to me, studying history is not supposed to be a joyous thing, right? Like I give you an example. It doesn't even have to be something that is the antebellum South. There was a show that I liked called Mad Men, and I always had difficulty watching it because I'm like, there's something that white folks can do that Black folks can't do as much. White folks can have nostalgia where they can say, oh, the good old days, the 1960s, right? And the whole show, people are drinking, sleeping with their secretaries, and this and that. And every Black character in the show is, ding, push a button on the elevator. What flow, sir? You know what I mean? And I thought about it from that perspective where I'm just like, when have I seen a period piece from the 1930s, 1940s, where we're in a situation where we're in a prominent place? It's always, and I will talk to you about this as well, the white gaze, right? It's always worrying about what the white public is looking at us, right? And so it's interesting you brought this up because I wanted to touch on this, is that when we talk about what's happening now where, they were taking down, the Black Lives Matter movement, we were taking down these Confederate statues that should have been up in the first place. And now Trump is trying to put them back up, right? And I look at these conversations about why this stuff was happening and why this was going on. And when I think about the Confederate flag that was here, it was put up in the 60s. And I'm like, what was happening in the 60s? We had the Civil Rights Bill that was coming. And so it felt like, okay, in the South, if you're fighting for a Civil Rights Bill, we want to put something up to remind y'all, hey, dog, you ain't where you think you are. And even talking about that when we're talking about how slow progress is for us in America, where when black folks are frustrated about the lack of progress, we don't think progress is moving fast enough, and white folks think it's moving too slow. If you look at the Civil Rights Bill was 1964, that was almost a decade after Emmett Till, right? So even that was supposed to be something that rocked the world or rocked the country, took a decade. How do you maintain the spirit of an activist, the spirit of a creative to push things forward when at times it feels like the progress is moving at a snail's pace? So when you talk to these young artists that might feel like, yo, this new administration, this stuff that's going on, this is just too much. What can I do? What words do you offer to those to keep them from being apathetic?
Well, back to living it and live it. Toni Morrison is, I read Toni Morrison a lot, and she would often say in times like these, right now is when we need to be working. Right now is when we need to really be working hard and really churning out the words, the stories, the poems, the art, the pots, everything. Just work hard.
Absolutely.
Because why are we spending so much time reacting to madness instead of creating beauty and joy and power? You can spend your whole entire life going, wait, he said what? Wait, they did what? Wait, let me get to my typewriter. I gotta.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta decide if you are reacting to the madness because they want to take you off home base. They want to take you off what you should be doing. So that they can say, look she wasted 2 weeks writing that story to combat my foolishness.
Absolutely right. So it was crazy because when you visited my home, I was watching the Toni Morrison documentary and I spoke to you about this.
Yep.
One of her earlier books, there was a New York Times book reviewer.
Yes.
And he's supposed to be, the NPR white folks, right? It was like, oh, I would have voted for Obama 3 times, right? Those type of people. And they were saying, hey, the ones that ain't in here, we love y'all. Thank y'all for buying your ticket. We appreciate you. Come out next month. Shit. Anyways. But it was the reviewer basically like, yo, she's a great writer and all, but if she wants to be successful, she has to write about white folks. Or if she's writing about the conflict of black folks, it has to be in the circle of, white people being the thing that we're combating against. And she said this, and I wrote a column about this. She said, very simply, when I was a kid, I'm reading Richard Wright, I'm reading all these books, I'm reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I read, The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison. And she said, when her critique from The Invisible Man was, invisible to whom? Right? The whole book is basically, I ain't seen by white folk. I'm ignored. And she's just like, well, what about your people? And that was something that hit me so much dealing with SoulHAUS as a gallery, where I couldn't say that I feel invisible to the community, right? Because my people, and I'm about to start crying, shit, my people love me. And if you're making art and work that speaks to your people, is it all of a sudden seen as something that is not good enough if it's not inviting other people to those conversations? And the civil rights movement is a big thing that I think is interesting in that, because it was the balance of speaking against, hey, here's terrible stuff that's happening to us that we need to address and we need to talk about. And one of the things that I always thought was really interesting was the civil rights movement in the South. Whoever were freedom fighters fighting, I respect them because they were in the pit, right? As much as I love Malcolm, but it's a little bit different in Harlem than it is in Alabama. It's a little bit different there than it is in South Carolina, right? And so what happens as an activist or a creative that's trying to find that balance of, I'm a poet, I'm working, I'm doing these things to, as you say, speak to that spirit. and to have conversations with people that look like you. Did you ever have that struggle of, do I need to expand this conversation to bring other people in, how they say in music, crossover, right? Where it's like, oh, crossover, when white folks buy it, you're successful. But if your people listen to it, then it's not good enough. Was that something that was a challenge for you as a creative?
No, I didn't care. What I cared about was the creation. I care about the process. I didn't start writing to write a book.
Yeah.
I started writing to understand the world. I kept a journal when I was 9, and I've kept one ever since, because if I didn't keep a journal, I would probably be in jail for assassination or something. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I figure out who I am, like Koyo has me right now, and I'm just loving the journey through her words. I feel like she's not gone anywhere. I feel like she's here, right? And I feel like writing helps me. You know, when I was a child, this is like, I didn't tell this story till I was 30, but when I was a child, there was this, you know how you have this weird stuff as a kid, and I had this thing that would come over me like I would like levitate. Okay, I just say it, levitate. Didn't understand it, didn't want to tell anybody because I thought, oh, they're going to put me in on Bull Street. It was private. And so I'd be sitting, I'd be reading, and I'd feel my body lifting, and I would just like hold on to the chair I was in. And then I told my grandmother, who lived in Newberry and who was my buddy, and she began to tell when I had these like levitation moments, and we would be in the garden and she'd throw a watermelon in my lap to bring me down to earth, right? To keep me. Well, writing keeps me still. Writing, when I don't understand how we could allow what's happening in Sudan, when I don't understand what's happening in Gaza, when I don't understand all of these things that the world, like America, what it's supporting now, you know, all of the things, the people who are starving, the AIDS programs that have just stopped, the SNAP programs, all of the things that just make life, it didn't like make those folks millionaires. It gave them a chance to live, maybe be a little healthier, right? The empathy that human beings have to have for each other, or why are we here? Why do I cut the TV on just to peek at something, just to say, okay, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. And then there's a person telling me that I can buy food that will last 25 years. You seen that commercial? They're selling frozen food packets that will last 25 years. Why would you need frozen food packets that will last 25 years? If you know something that I don't know, you know something that's coming that I don't know, you gonna need a bunker? Am I gonna need a bunker? Oh, I don't get a bunker. Are we paying attention? Are we paying attention to the fact of no vaccination information coming out? Well, then what are we doing as parents, as community people? We didn't have information from powers that be when they said you're free now, you can go into the world and be a human being. We didn't rely on an entity that would tell us go take a vaccination or don't take we circled the wagons. Are we circling the wagons? Or are we just on social media wasting time? Are we planting? Do we know how to grow food? Yeah. Are you growing some food for each other? I mean, I'm not trying to scare you. I am trying to say we must be intentional.
Yeah. And I think you when you say your grandma threw the watermelon at you, that lets me know that like she had a garden.
She had a garden.
Yeah. My family, that's you ate what you made, right? And my father would tell me about, they used to raise hogs and have to slaughter them.
Slaughter
and,
time.
And they fed everybody in the community.
That's right.
Because everybody was poor.
That's right.
Right? Everybody was broke. So
Right.
so when they slaughtered that hog, hey, take something to Miss Johnson's house, right? What happens in a moment like this where we see the empathy going downward?
So back to your question about young artists, and I mean, it's the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm teaching a class, I try and ask. No, I don't try. I make my students go and talk to somebody. Go talk to an elder.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. They don't know how to talk. They spitting all over themselves. They don't know how. No, we're not teaching them how to write, so they got to take a computer. I mean, we've made it really tough for them to sit at somebody's feet and listen. We haven't done a good job of that. That's our fault, right? We're not giving them the tools to do that. But there are ways, if you care enough about those individuals, those students, those young people, to drop, not them, their whole lives into a new world, drop a seed. Drop a seed and try to make it grow, right? Try to get, I mean, I wasn't successful at this, but I wanted to take a group of young people out into the world and just walk with them. Oh, what, do you have liability? Well, do you have vans? What? No, I just want to take them to that tree right there.
Yeah.
I just want to stand. Somebody help me do that.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself, which is why I'm here. Because we need a community of, oh, you need a van? Okay, Nikki, I got a van for you. Oh, liability? Well, let's come on Saturday, let's talk about it, because we got a little policy that we could possibly use for that.
Absolutely.
That's why this forum is so important, Preach.
And we talked about this because what I didn't want to do as a Black artist and a Black creative in Columbia, I didn't want to be like, let's talk about all the shit that's going wrong. I'm like, let's figure out what can we do, right? How can we move forward? Like, that's the history of us in the sense of the quarter parties,
Right.
Where it's just like, all right, let me help you pay your rent this month. I'm gonna bring some food over, So if we have young people in here, or if we have people in here that want to do one thing to help move humanity forward, what are practical things that we can say, you can do this tomorrow?
Find out who you are. Find out what you care about. I'm not saying, did you read the article yesterday about the school, is it Alabama, that has banned cell phones in the class? And the teacher now is talking about the instant change in his students.
Wow. Instant.
They look at each other. They write their name down. They focus on the subject and the question that he said, I've been trying to do this for 8 years. The school system banned the city or school system, something, I don't know which it was, but an entity in that community that had the power said, this isn't good for our young people. Stepped up to the plate to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We have the power. We don't, do we have the initiative? Do we care enough? Or do we sit back? Because if we're sitting back, if anybody in this room is sitting back and saying, well, it's gone, it's done, this is over, that's not where I am.
Yeah, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live like that. And one of the things I think is really interesting, and this happens to younger people and older people as well, little inside story, it's pretty funny. I had people sending me these messages last week, and they were jokingly saying, congratulations on your new baby. And I'm like, new baby? I had no kid. What are you talking about? There's like a fake news story. Guys, this shit is hilarious. It's coming out of my column this week. There was a news story from this fake website that said Dawn Staley had a kid. And the picture is me and her. It's a selfie I took at a game. And they got, oh, Dawn's new baby, right? And I'm like, what is going on, right? And then it's a Facebook post and people are like, congratulations, this and that. And I'm terrified about there's this Denzel quote. I forgot how he said it. He said, if you don't read, you're uninformed. If you read, you're misinformed, right? And so it gets to the point where how do people...
Who said that?
Denzel said that.
Oh.
And so like, he said, I'm probably misquoting him, but he was probably in character from a movie. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting is that how do we, back in the day, it was like, our parents was like, read. I don't care what you read and put your head in a book. And I'm reading like really terrible things as a kid. I'm reading all these books. But now, how do you combat like misinformation? How do you combat where we're talking about now with the book bannings and stuff like that now, where people want, the only history they want to hear about is a history that makes them feel good, right? Where I saw somebody on one of these cable networks was basically saying, I don't want to hear about history that makes me always sound like the bad person. My people are the bad people. So to hear that the country is doing book burnings and banning books, it feels like something that's from generations ago. How do we navigate through those as a writer for the idea of people reading and paying for content to read is being challenged?
But I keep saying the same thing, Preach. You are reacting to what they put in front of you. Mm-hmm. And I am saying, if you know a young person, give them a book. Read it with them. And I'm not talking about 100 young people. I'm talking about one. Talking about two. I'm talking about an hour a week. I'm talking about 2 hours a weekend. We keep thinking this snowball of trauma is happening to us, right? Mm-hmm. But you are reacting to it and not the spirituality that you were born with and have been nurtured with. And if you keep trying to stop the snowball, you will never grow the apple.
Wow. Okay.
And it's not rocket science. Mm-hmm. Everybody in here has a nurturing spirit. Some more so than others, right? And so learning what you can do, it's like this. I remember this woman came running up to me. She was like, how do you have time? I need time to write the book. I want to write this book. I was like, you're not going to have the time. It's not going to happen. I love you. It's not going to happen. You must make time for everything you care about. That is not going to come from the White House. That is not going to come from the State House. That is not going to come from people who are burning books. They are not going to come from people who don't care about other people, who have no empathy, who only want profit. You know this lesson already. Dust it off, put it to use, and it's not going to be on the nightly news. Nobody's going to care about it but you and that person. The man who cuts my grass, Mr. Marinoff, I love him. He's 2 years younger than me. He's a math whiz. Black man, 6'4", went through the school systems in South Carolina. They said, Nikki, they always told me I couldn't do math. He's a whiz. He, after working 10 hours a day in everybody's yard, goes and tutors an 8-year-old who was told she couldn't do math.
Wow. Yeah.
She just finished the top of the class.
Let's go. Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? We keep waiting for somebody to say, wow, you did a good job. You're so good. You're so fine. We're going to give the man money, give him booze, give him anything he wants. But that's profit. That's profit. Koyo say, I want to do this for something else. So that little 8th grader looking up at Mr. Marinoff, sweaty, probably stinky, probably didn't go home and bathe before he went to her, can say, Mr. Marinoff, I made 98 on my test.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay? Don't ask me about them no more.
I vow this to you. I vow this to you as I say this in front of them. I'm going to take that challenge. I'm going to, the work that I do, I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
And you got a platform. You connect people in this room, right? The beauty of this Koger Center supporting you, that's a beauty in and of itself. But to have, okay, I'm going to tell you a connection. Sister was in the back. She does, I think she's gone to the Nickelodeon because they left me. But they went, and the sister does artwork, right? She says, I do artwork. I do a Japanese form of artwork, and I put it together with the something of therapy. And I work with young people who have been traumatized in their lives. And I'm sitting here and I'm talking to her, and we're talking about the brain, because I'm a nerd and I love anatomy. And she's talking about how they are researching and interviewing Black parents and teenagers about how to be in conversation with each other. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So make this not an entertainment moment. Make this also, I'm going to challenge you, for anybody here, not to just put your card down, but to have at each event 2 people that introduces themselves and what they do to the community.
Let's go. Okay. All right. We're going to do that. We're going to do that.
Or whatever the number is, right? Because we waste too much time meeting each other when there's so much to do and there's so many good people in this community. But they're scared. They don't know what to do, and they don't want to cross the wrong line.
Yeah.
This could be a space that invites them to take a little risk, walk across the line, pass your name to somebody you don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you meet a person, an interview person that needs that piece of art from that sister who just left.
I think the simplest solution is always the best solution. That's why this whole program is just 2 chairs and people talking, right? And I think that that's the most powerful form. And the fact that these people are in here, it shows that they appreciate it. And the fact that we sold this out means so much to have this support. I know we're getting up on time. Yeah. So we want to do 3 questions. But before I do the 3 questions from the audience, we're going to call some people out. If y'all have some questions, I want y'all to please make some noise and show your love for Nikki Finney, please. All right. We'll take 3 questions. Who raised their hand? Oh, come on. Yeah, you got to come to the mic. So who has a question?
Come on.
Don't be scared now. Introduce yourself to the congregation.
My name is Lester Boykin.
Hi, Lester.
I'm an accountability coach. Purpose. How does one go about finding purpose?
Well, I think you have to. I found purpose in writing in my journal books, and striking through what I didn't want to do. Right? I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to law school. That's my daddy's dream. That's not my dream. What makes me who I am? When I look up at the sky, when I walk through a field, when the farmers are coming to slaughter the pig that my family is going to feed the rest of the people on that farm, why do I run through the woods with my hands over my ears? Because I'm traumatized at the sound of an animal screaming for its life. Why is that my truth? We don't spend enough time with ourselves. We spend too much time with who we think people want us to be, life coach. Brush that off. We need original minds. We need original hearts. We need people who are not fearful of failure and who have the right intention about how they're spending their life. right? So strike through the things you don't want to be and circle the things that matter to you. I have my students say, what are you obsessed with? They go, obsessed? I'm not obsessed with anything. And then find out 2 weeks in, one of my students' father was a geologist. He says, well, I do have 350 rocks in my room. You're gonna write me a rock story before you get out of here. That's important? Mm-hmm. Yes. Because then you know who you are. You don't have to say, well, they want me to be like that guy. You begin to draw yourself into the picture, into the drama, into the scene, right? Mm. I never thought I would be a poet. I was trying to figure out why people were so mean to each other. Oof. Why people call me names. Oof. Why we had to integrate, why I had to leave Catholic school and go to the public school and get rocks thrown. Why, Daddy, why? So I went to my journal book to figure that out, right? We have to figure out what we can do to be clear about who we are. Not our cool, beautiful selves. I ain't talking about y'all in that way. I'm talking about what makes your heart beat.
Hmm. I'm not crying, you're crying. Do we have another question?
Thank you for being light. I want to know oh, I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Joyce Rose Harris, and I am a poet. I want to know and do you still levitate?
I do not.
What makes you?
I don't know. I don't know why it stopped. It stopped sometime in my late 20s, and I'm kind of miss it. I wish it would visit again. You know, like those things that were so private and yours. No, it just stopped all of a sudden, and I did find out there was a Catholic, not a nun, Sister Teresa from Spain was who levitated, and she wrote a book about it. But it wasn't my story, so I left it alone. But it was good to find that people had those feelings. And I wasn't the only one in the universe who traveled in that way. Huh? Maybe I never came down. I don't know.
You want to ask a question, or you using the bathroom? Get on the microphone.
As a mother,
who are you? Who are you?
I'm Ashley Chambliss.
Nice to meet you.
I am a business owner and an author. I'm a mother of 4. And how do we give our children that confidence to be able to find their inner voice in this really loud world? Yeah.
I think there are so many different ways to do that. I feel like children want to be seen. Children want to be heard. Children want their creative side explored, right? Children don't want to be treated like children. They want to be given a little space, right? Mm-hmm. To be more than keep your place. It drives me crazy when I'm in a grocery store and somebody's trying to keep a child. I mean, children. I'm not trying to romanticize this, and I feel like there are ways that you know them already. I don't even know you, and I know you know this, but I don't feel like you trust yourself in giving them to the kids in a world like this, because to me, you're making the world bigger than the children, and I feel like the children are bigger than the world. Does that make sense? So I want you to trust their children. Children, before they get to a certain age, are the freest human beings on the planet. And then we start slotting them. And then we start saying, no, don't use that word, use this word, right? I remember there was a story of a child saying to somebody, Daddy, walk me to the distance. Walk me to the distance. Oh, the distance. Oh my God, that's a poem. And now they say, well, could you walk me to the corner of Oak and, I don't mean the distance, because that doesn't make sense. Let them have that for as long as they can. and let them know that it's okay.
Absolutely.
Because we need different languages to be able to express all of who we are, right? Don't go by the book. The book has only 5 pages, and those kids have 500.
One of my favorite quotes is an African proverb that says, "Life is war, but family is army." And I feel like we got a lot of soldiers here. The army is here tonight. Please show your love one more time for Miss Nikki Finney. And ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet. My guy Dre, we had an idea when we were talking about these pieces that he was doing where he's paying homage to these creatives that he really, really loves. And we were talking about, like, we need to do the same thing for the people that we see, that we interact with, and not just some celebrities. So in the spirit of this series that he has here, we present you a gift. A picture of me. I'm playing.
Dre.
I'm about to cry too. So I'm sorry.
Okay,
So listen, I got to show my man some love. He said earlier that he works really slow. We got this idea a week and a half ago. So the fact that we did this, and I want to say shout out to Blue Tile Skate Shop that were able to do the canvas in the form of this, because it was going to be like, well, if we can't get the canvas in time, are we going to put it in a frame? It was like, we got to get it to match. So we wanted to show our appreciation and what you mean to us here. And yeah, this is a piece. If you want to explain, because what you said to me the other day about this was really, really cool. You want to tell us the motivation about the piece?
Sure. So when the idea came about, it was perfect because, you know, that series is paying homage to a bunch of artists that are gone. This is in the now, and it's so important for us to acknowledge each other while we're here, you know? And I think between a lot of stuff that you create, a lot of stuff that I try to create or pre-creates, and anybody else in the community, this type of in the moment coalescence while we exist right now is heavy, you know? So when the idea came about, it was just perfect. It was just right. And I was like, Souls, let's do this. And, you know, we talked about what reference photo to use, you know, and he was like, yo, use the photograph that we've been using for the promo work. It's a beautiful shot, but it's great for promotion. It lacked enough of the personality and soul of what you are, you know, from what I know, from what I've seen. So I searched and searched and searched, and I wanted to catch you in action. You know, you are of gravitas within what you do, you know, and with all these portraits, it's always been about capturing the closest essence of what the artist has done, how they have impacted, and just catch a glimpse of, yo, I feel that as soon as I see that. So with this, you know, a lot of the beautiful photographs that have been taken of you, same thing. It's just you looking at the camera, but so I went through videos and screenshots, and I finally found this one where it was like, it caught your personality, it caught you in the moment, it caught that spirit that literally has touched everybody here tonight. and it was a very low res picture, so it was a pain in the ass at times, but but it was well worth it, because by the time that enough of the things came together, all the way down to like I went through like, I don't know, 10 to 15 different color palettes.
Wow.
Because even that to me was like, you're lively and you're energy and you're raw, but you're a serious artist, you're a serious thinker. And to me, I wanted to capture enough of your livelihood, but pay respect to the type of person and artist that you are. So yeah, I'm happy with what came out. I'm so happy that you're pleased with it.
So, ambushed. I've been ambushed. So this is what, so I don't even like pictures of myself. I don't like, it's not, because it's, like people, you fall into it and it's like, no, but I love Dre. And I found his work 4 years ago when he came to the Finney Center for the artists to introduce themselves, right? And to know that his hand and heart and head made this, it's not just me, right? It's our portrait, because I know the artist, right? And so this is what I mean by, Preach, this was just, you got me. You got me. And yes. You're right. The sister up here said, "Oh, she don't have nothing to say. She really, she's gone speechless." I did, because I don't know that I've ever had a gift that means so much to me. I'm not a young woman, so I got a few gifts, but I've never seen. It's stunning. And the story that accompanies it is also stunning, and I thank you very much.
And we thank you. Show your love one more time. So I'm gonna play a little bit of music. Y'all can, like she said, I want y'all to introduce yourselves to each other. If y'all got business cards, pass cards out, meet somebody, have a drink with somebody soon. Few announcements. We have stuff for sale. I have records for sale. All the Drake pieces are for sale. Please buy that shit. Also, the next date for our next SoulHAUS conversation series is going to be September the 10th. And we have Chef Amethyst Ganaway doing that. The tickets are available now on the Coker Center website. Get them now. Thank y'all so much. Let's hang out for a little bit. Show your love. Speak to your guests. Let's go.
The preceding podcast is solely owned by its host or hosts and is distributed by BIG Media LLC. Copyright 2025, all rights reserved.